Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. My name's Sophia, and I'm being joined by the NeuroSeed Foundation. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Connie and I'm the president and founder of the NeuroSeed Foundation.
Hi, I'm Anne. I'm the vice president of NeuroSeed, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. And today we're going to be talking about why we're all interested in healthcare as pre-college students and as high school students. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm assuming that everyone who tuned in is a person who's very interested in medicine or someone who wants to become a physician, a PA, a doctor when they're older. So everyone who joined this podcast today, I'm really grateful they took the liberty of researching all the topics that we're going to discuss. So we researched how early hospital exposure now matters more for those students who can handle clinical environments and why there's so much pressure for them to rack up hours. So some students in college may take a gap year, and high school students feel a lot of pressure when they need to search for experiences like volunteering in hospitals or maybe shadowing doctors. I know for myself, I'm an incoming college student at WashU, and I found it very difficult in my high school years. Thank you. I found it very difficult in my high school years to find just open experiences, a lot of emails, and I think it would be very beneficial if there were more accessible programs for high school students to find exposure like that, to show schools and medical schools that they know exactly what they're interested in. I could ask Connie first, just say what grade you're in and what experiences you've currently had and what you're searching for.
So for me, I'm currently a rising junior in high school, and some of the experiences that I've had related to my intended major in the future include, well, as I've introduced myself earlier, being the president and founder of the NeuroSeed Foundation. And I'm also part of another organization called Neurosphere, where I've had the opportunity to help create digital pamphlets that help break down complex neuroscience topics. And at my own school, I'm also involved in Biomed Society and Chemistry Club.
Okay, so I'm in Texas right now. I'm also a rising junior. So, other than NeuroSeed, I think the biggest thing, just to make it short, I think the biggest thing I've done so far is getting my certification to be a CNA, a certified nursing assistant, and it's been really interesting and eye-opening and definitely like made me at least like second guess my decision or um, my desire to go towards a STEM related field because it's hard and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's just being CNA is hard. I wonder what's going to be like in more professional fields.
I always wanted to go into like the legal field. I wanted to be a lawyer since I was in middle school, and that completely changed like my junior senior year. And I was interested in like skincare and dermatology, so I explored that. And 13 years of like schooling is very intimidating compared to like 3 years in just law school. And then for like people who want to be a doctor, you have to go to 4 years undergrad, 4 years medical school, 4 years residency. Like it's very intimidating. But I was thinking, like, if you're passionate in something like pediatric neurology or something with the brain, I mean, like, you're gonna go for it. So to build on my application in regards to like medicine, I got my PCA certification, which is basically patient care assistant, and it's very similar to a certified nursing assistant, but only we don't do any like phlebotomy. We don't like draw blood. We basically just like we give baths to like older people. We clean their house, and I thought it was like a very soft introduction to the medical field. I thought it made me feel good taking care of other people. I don't know about you guys, but it like feeds your soul a little bit. Like seeing other people happy, seeing that you're making an impact.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am also interested in like skincare and all that. At least I personally do a little bit of skincare, so I think what you talked about dermatology was interesting. And I was like, I've considered it before, and I don't know, but currently more towards neuroscience right now.
Yeah, and I know you like mentioned before that you're currently volunteering at a nursing home right now, which is really cool since you and Sophia both have this connection where you guys have both been able to help the elderlies in your own communities. And I think that's just such a meaningful way to be able to give back to the people around you.
Yeah, and Connie, like you creating the NeuroSeed Foundation is very impactful. If you choose to pursue that within college, like that would be a great addition to a medical school application. Just that constant, consecutive impact in just one organization is very impressive, and it like just shows your dedication. Like what you're like you've been interested in this like basically your whole life.
Give some credit to Connie. Like she really has she puts so much work into NeuroSeed. It's really impressive, and I admire her for like all the perseverance and like effort she puts in because like I know she does like a lot behind the scenes, and uh,
Mhm.
it's really like props to you, Connie, for that.
Well, thank you guys for the kind words. And I just want to like thank you for a second because you helped me a lot with NeuroC. I really don't think that I will be able to achieve this much without your help. And when it comes to Sophia, I know that you probably work just as hard or even harder when it comes to the Read and Care project. I really admire both of you guys for that.
Yes. Oh, thank you guys. We're hyping each other up. That's great. Okay, we're gonna move on to topic number two, which is finding your why for medicine. We'll review for all of our research is that perseverance matters more than initial motivation. Given how long the path is, specific personal anecdotes make a stronger impression in interviews than generic answers or dramatic aha stories. So I guess, Connie, we could start with you again. The question is, what's your real answer to why medicine?
So for me personally, my interest in neuroscience is actually a quite recent thing. It started because of teenage love, which might sound a little bit silly at first, but it was because like there was this one moment in my life where I was feeling a lot of confusion, and that confusion kind of turned into frustration. And there was this one day I remember where I was scrolling on YouTube and I came across this one video where it was a deep dive on what happens to our brains when we fall in love with someone. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting because it also, like, I related to it a lot at the time. So I clicked on it and I felt even more curious after watching the video. So then after watching it, I decided to like continue doing my own research on different neuroscience topics. And one of them that I came across was also something called neurodegenerative diseases. Reading about all these neurological conditions, I realized that understanding the brain wasn't just enough for me because I really want to be someone that could help others navigate the challenges that come with having neurological conditions, especially during the most vulnerable years of development. And that's what's drawn me towards medicine and pediatric neurology in particular, because it truly feels like the place where my curiosity and long-term commitment to people it can come together smoothly. And I believe it's incredibly important for children to have a physician that they are able to trust from the moment that they are born all the way throughout young adulthood. I just hope that I could be someone that could offer the stability and high quality care in a field where access to this kind of care is often very limited.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a really fun story. My story is not definitely not as fun as that, but I had a relative who had Alzheimer's, and it was really difficult having a conversation with her because I would sometimes help feed her, and I'd be like, "Oh, you cut your hair or something," and she go on like a completely otherworldly tangent, and I was like, "Wow!" Like it was really interesting. So I think that kind of prompted me towards neuroscience and like maybe psychology too. And that's kind of my why for going towards neuroscience. But I guess medicine in general, I've always been interested in that because a lot of my family members are all researchers, have like PhDs and stuff. So they've always been into like science and stuff. They've encouraged me towards science a lot since childhood. I actually hated science because I never understood it and I always didn't do good in science classes, especially in middle school. I took AP biology my freshman year of high school, and then I think that really opened up my eyes to science. And then I think I started enjoying it more. Therefore, I started realizing the little stuff like my relative with Alzheimer's, or I also had another relative who had cancer, so that's why I started looking towards medicine.
That's really nice. Okay, so similar to you, and I also took AP Bio in high school. I think I took it my junior year, and that's what actually really got me introduced, like really interested into science. And when I, at least when I was going through middle school and the beginning of high school, I like was very stressed. I had a lot of anxiety about different things, and I would also stress eat, and that would lead to me like just not having a healthy weight, like breaking out a lot, and that like circled back to skincare. And as I'm going into WashU, my major is actually like I'm minoring in biology, but my major is really interdisciplinary. It's called PNP, and it stands for Philosophy, Neuroscience, Psychology. And I touch on basically it's like a mix of like writing, but then also it dives into neuroscience. And what I'm really interested in is how like the brain influences the skin, and how like having mental disorders can lead to maybe like acne or eczema or something like that, and whether it's like genetics or environmental. So that's my why medicine. I did. Are you guys familiar with Stony Brook University on Long Island?
Mhm.
So I did research my senior year in their drug lab, like their drug and rehab lab, and I explore basically rosacea, which I have rosacea, and it's basically like where when you feel like intense emotion or like intense environmental factors, your skin gets like really red and irritated and like blotchy and stuff. It happens like multiple times a week, but
Oh,
there's no cure. So if I can do anything with my medical career, it could be to find a cure for that, because it is very annoying. Like when I go on runs, or like when I just get like upset or mad, like my face will turn red, and then people will be like that doesn't look normal, because it's like blotchy everywhere, and it's like gets on my arms. It's like I don't even have acute rosacea. I have like the bad one. So it gets very bad. So if I could do anything with my medical career, it would be to fix that. I don't know if you guys have any like big issues you want to solve. Like I know Anne, you said something about Alzheimer's, and I know there's like no cure for Alzheimer's.
um,
I remember coming across a news article about a 17-year-old boy in China who began to show symptoms of Alzheimer's disease despite his young age. And Alzheimer's, it's something that we usually associate with grandparents and not teenagers. So reading about a case like this felt extremely jarring at first. It made me realize just how fragile and unpredictable our brain can be, and how neurological disorders in most cases are very unexpected. And this case, it really stuck with me after reading about it, because learning about a 17-year-old boy that was diagnosed with Alzheimer's was more distressing than I had anticipated. It led me to think more deeply about the fear a teenager must experience when they begin to lose fragments of themselves. And I try to like think of, oh, what would I do if I was in that situation? And it's honestly so scary for me to think about that. And this realization, it just kept motivating me to pursue pediatric neurology. And I want to be part of the group of physicians and scientists that are committed to challenging the phrase that we don't know can be the final answer, because I believe that there's always an answer for something, no matter how weird it could appear at first.
So the next topic we have is the harsh reality behind the medical path. Becoming a doctor requires more than academic excellence. It demands developing a professional identity, strong interpersonal skills, and the ability to handle significant financial debt. So, Connie, we could start with you first. This is the question. Has anything about pursuing healthcare surprised you or has been harder than you expected? And I know you haven't like pursued healthcare officially yet since you're in high school, but has any of these things been hard for you to navigate?
For me, one of the things that I've had the most difficulties with navigating through is definitely being able to find opportunities. Even though I'm based in New York City and I have access to lots of very high quality programs and healthcare related opportunities, they're often very selective and are extremely competitive to get into. This year alone, when I was applying for summer programs, I got rejected from most of them. I got rejected from this summer neuroscience program at the Rockefeller University. I got rejected from Mount Sinai, NYU Lagoon, Maimonides, and countless others. And it really did hurt my confidence for a little bit. I had to take a step back and reflect on my abilities because it made me think about, oh, would I even be able to find opportunities as a med student if I can't secure ones as a high school student?
I totally agree with you. Like, opportunities is so hard. Even though I'm not anywhere near New York City, I'm in the DFW, like Dallas, Texas area, and it's so competitive. I It really makes me rethink like, oh, like am I not good enough? I think for me that has surprised me or made me kind of rethink healthcare is getting that CNA opportunity and then going to a couple of shifts, and I was like, wow, it's definitely interesting. There's the one I went to, at least for my clinicals, it had both a normal area and then a memory care area. And if you go into the memory care, that's where all the dementia, like Alzheimer's patients are. And so they really surprised me with a lot of them are actually very nice, but the ones that are not very nice are very scary a little bit, and it kind of scared me. I was like, "Well, this might not be for me," and maybe rethink. But I think the CNAs or actual nurses that were there helped me kind of navigate through that.
I totally agree. I know, like on top of finding experience, like you have to balance that coursework. I did not take AP Chem. I don't know about you guys. I'm too scared for that. But I did take AP Bio. Over my 4 years, I took 13 APs and I didn't fail any of the exams though, but it is hard to like balance that. Also, I know like when I was training to be a PCA, the nursing field is like a totally different breed of medicine. Like compared to like dermatologists just go in, check your skin, and then like they leave. They go out and get their matcha, like very good work-life balance. But a registered nurse, like they're on call like 12-hour shifts. You have to have a lot of perseverance for that field. I'm not personally interested in that, but yeah.
Yeah, like what both of you guys were talking about, being able to manage your AP classes while also making sure that you're on top of your extracurriculars and all that stuff. It's definitely very, very challenging. Like next year, I know that a lot of my friends and classmates, they're going to be taking AP Bio or AP Chemistry. I personally am not taking either of those classes next year, but I am planning on taking AP Bio my senior year. But all these people that I'm surrounded by, they all have such uh, good grades and they have really good extracurriculars and they're so involved in the school and outside the school community. And it's just, so crazy to me about how these people can manage all of this and get enough sleep at the same time. Because sometimes I find it very challenging to have a proper work life balance.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have work-life balance. Like I feel like personally, if I felt I wasn't like if I felt like very burnt out, I'd try my best to like stop what I was doing, take a breath. I know, like Connie, for you, like the New York City area, I'm very familiar with. I think it is definitely like so competitive. I think back to what I said about accessibility for programs, it would be so much more helpful if things were just less competitive because so many people want to become doctors. And imagine someone in like Montana not having any like opportunity to just like dive into that field because nothing's being offered in their area, and nothing's even if something is being offered, it's very competitive. There's a lot of like you need to have connections sometimes to get in. Like I personally, there are no physicians in my family, so it's going to be hard for me to get shadowing positions. But I think, yeah, no, definitely when you're looking for experience like that and trying to balance your grades, it could lead to burnout, and it's very important that your mental health comes first. And I think that's very important when you're going into a field that like a very demanding field like medicine.
Yeah, what do you guys do like outside of school, like in your free times, just like give yourself give yourself time to cool down? For me, at least, I think I I actually watch a lot of like commentary videos on like YouTube or something, so that's how I calm down.
For me, I just like to do stuff that's not related to science for a little bit, just so I can take a break from that kind of stuff. And I like to focus on doing more creative things, such as creating artwork or even, taking a small walk around my neighborhood and going on a bike ride.
I just spend time with my friends and family. I think just like I also have a therapist. I think talking with people and just like not venting, but like just talking about your day, seeing what other people are up to is very calming and it just reassures you that, you know, we're all doing the best that we can. I also like to read, but not as often. I haven't been reading as often as I should be, but I do like, like to read. Okay. So the last topic that we wrote about is how it's okay to have it not all figured out. So healthcare careers extend far beyond being a doctor or a surgeon, and curiosity and honest self-reflection matter more than having a single defining moment of certainty. So the question is, do you guys ever catch yourself doing something just like for the application instead of because you actually want to? And how do you tell the difference between passion or just, you know, showing schools that you care?
I think for me, a moment where I like really had to take a step back to think about if I really wanted to pursue a career in medicine was during my experience volunteering at New York Presbyterian. But trust me, I've been loving it so far. I'm super grateful that I was able to get this role. But similar to what Anne was talking about earlier, not everyone that you come across in this field will be friendly to you. And I think that's to be expected, but I'm not sure why I've always had this kind of positive view about the medical field before I was actually put into a setting like that. And to be honest, my first few times that I was there, I felt stressed because my role specifically, I simply just had to, talk to patients while they're in the waiting room and provide them comfort. But sometimes it was hard to, find a connection. And I understand that because they're going through like their most vulnerable moments and then they can sometimes say things that they otherwise wouldn't have. But as much as I like to think of myself as someone who can get through stressful moments with a calm composure, this volunteer experience has really tested me to see if I could actually live up to that. And there are some times where I thought, like, oh, would I actually be able to be a good doctor to these people? Would I actually be able to have that level of compassion, empathy, and understanding that people say doctors need to have?
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I really liked everything that you said, Connie. I think for me, for a student who wants to go into like some kind of science related major, oftentimes they do some kind of research. I see people on TikTok, they're like, "Oh yeah, I did research at Harvard as a high school student," and I'm like, "Oh wow, maybe I should do that too." So I started looking at ways to do research internships, and a lot of them actually are for rising seniors and juniors apply for them. So a lot of them I couldn't end up applying for anyway. But looking at them, I went into pretty deep research about a lot of the opportunities I can possibly have in my area. But then I realized like after like 3 hours just scrolling around and trying to look for opportunities, I was like, wow, like why am I doing this? Because like I don't even like, oh my gosh, my voice. I don't even like really writing that much. And then then why would I don't know, it seemed kind of counterintuitive because someone who doesn't really like writing, doesn't really like reading is trying to make themselves do research, and it's genuinely just because a lot of people just did it. I'm gonna admit, like I'm still probably gonna look for like research opportunities just to for my applications for college and stuff, and I'm probably gonna continue to have to look for research opportunities even through my undergraduate years just to look good for medical school. Um, but honestly, once if I go to actual medical school and end up committing to become a doctor, then I don't think I'm gonna do any kind of research after getting a doctorate because I'm not really passionate about that in general. I really am probably gonna just do it for the applications to show like I am interested in medicine, but not research for medicine maybe. And I also think some of the AB classes that I took, maybe I'm probably doing just for the application because I've taken 6 so far and I'm gonna take like another 6 this coming junior year school. But like I don't honestly care about most of them, right? So really it kind of really is just for the application and But I don't think it's necessarily wrong to do that since you want to go to the school, you want to do medicine. So to be able to achieve that, you're doing something you maybe don't want to do.
I definitely like agree with you. Like the AP classes, I know like in my senior year, I wanted a lot of my friends or like people that I knew were taking like very light courses. They wanted like a really easy senior year, and I was like, I don't want that. Like I want to get into a good school. Like I want to show like that I have like the grit, like the drive. And I was just kind of miserable like this whole year. And I just after I got into my college, I was like, I don't care about this anymore. And I ended up not really taking. I took 5 AP classes this year. I only took 2 of the exams. I remember in my AP, I took AP Calc AB this year for my senior year, and we were taking like a practice test as like a grade. He put the scores, my teacher, he literally put the scores on the board, and I was the only person that got a 1. I literally did not study for that at all. It was really bad. I'm not good at math like at all. I'm actually surprised I got into WashU because I had A's in everything, and I literally had a C in pre-calc. And they're gonna see my transcript. I have a C in AP Calc too. And the only reason that I took math was to like just to show that I took it. Like everyone else that was interested in medicine was taking it. Everyone else that wanted to go to a good school was taking AP Calc, and I was like, all right, like let me do that. Like I'm gonna go. Like my AP Calc teacher had like this star board, and whenever you get like a 90 plus, like you get your name on it. I was never on that board, and I was like, you know what? Like I don't have to excel in this one subject to like prove myself to be a good physician, or you don't have to prove yourself in any subject to prove that you're good at anything. I think I would, if I could tell my past high school self, like my freshman year self, take courses that you're interested in. I think when you were talking about research, I'm personally really interested in research and writing and reading. So I think I will do a lot of that in undergrad, but something that I'm not interested in that like is just another checkbox for applications is like leadership positions. And obviously like I run the reading care project, but it's really really hard to get a team of people together to do something. Like I know Connie, you were having like difficulties like getting team members on the podcast today. I'd like argue it's harder than like doing research because to get everyone who's interested in the same thing to get them to want it just as bad as you is like very difficult. But then again, at the end of the day, you are making an impact by leading things. I know like during my high school career, I was like the president of some things that now I just don't even remember. But at my college, I'm going to make sure that I care about the things that I'm doing. I know I'm doing Camp Kesum, which is basically like a summer camp that like kids go to whose parents are suffering from cancer. And that sounds like something I'd be really passionate about. Like I'd like die for those kids. Like I would be a great camp counselor.
Yeah, and I just want to like come back to that passion thing a little bit more. I decided to take physics this year, and honestly, that was probably one of my worst experiences ever in my academic career. I ended up ending the class with an 80, which is my lowest grade ever in any of the classes I've ever taken in my life before. That also made me think about if my passion for science would be able to outweigh that single 80, because I knew that 80 was going to go on my final transcript, and all these colleges that are looking at my application, they'll see that 80 and then they might think like, oh, the student says that she wants to pursue neuroscience, but she has an 80 in physics, so we should reject her. I I don't know if that's how they actually do it, but that's the way that I thought in my head. So I think it's, super important for high schoolers like me to remember to believe in themselves, which I know is so easy to say and very hard to do. And I still struggle with this. The fact that one grade or one class doesn't define your entire future or your self worth. And next year, since I'm increasing my class rigor, I might come back to those feelings, but I think the best way to overcome that is just to keep reminding yourself that you're doing your best.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that. I really like that.
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Anne from the NeuroSeed Foundation, for giving your insights on um, being like interested in medicine in high school. And I know people who are listening right now definitely like appreciate your personal insights. Again, thank you to everyone viewing.
Thank you.